Time for the Arsenal versus Leverkusen match preview. It's Mikel Arteta against his childhood best friend Xabi Alonso. It's Kai Havertz against his former team Leverkusen. It's Granit Xhaka against his former team Arsenal. It's going to be a really, really good one. Last season they had an incredible season, of course. They ended up finishing unbeaten in the season, so I guess you can add that as well. Over the last 2 decades, two of the teams that have finished unbeaten in their leagues. It's going to be a very, very decent game for sure. I'm looking forward to it. We're back at the Emirates Stadium. I cannot wait for this game. They have a very, very good squad, the likes of Verts, obviously Xhaka, Andrich, and Boniface. They really have a very, very, very good squad. And then their manager himself, they're probably planning to have another great season this campaign, to win the title again and all that. But we are also planning to have a season like they had last season for ourselves next season. And this is against people are really looking forward to. Last season, a lot of people were saying, like to see Arsenal playing against this Leverkusen team, just like people were saying the previous season, Arsenal against Napoli would be a great game. I think this will be a very good game. Back at the Emirates Stadium, we're expecting the likes of Calafiori to make his debut. The likes of Rice and Saka back, Raya is now back, Ramsdale is back, Saliba is back. So it's more of a fast team more than we had back in the US with a lot of youngsters. I still want a couple of youngsters to feature. Nwaneri, not Lyles. I've been watching the Olympics too much. Lewis Kelly, that is the guy I wanted to say. Lewis Kelly, I want him to feature in the team as well in these games that are coming up. But the moment you get to the Emirates Cup, that means you're closer to the Premier League. You guys remember back in the day when you used to have Emirates Cup, on Saturday and Sunday? Those were the days, man. Recently, we've only been having one Emirates Cup game. Last season Monaco, the previous season Sevilla. It's actually been long since we had like 2 Emirates Cup games, but it's also because we had a Community Shield game last season. And but yeah, this season there's no Community Shield. It's just these 2 games against Leverkusen and Lyon, and then we get started with the Premier League season. Hopefully more signings before then. But yeah, really looking forward to this game. Kai Havertz, which position is he going to start for this one? Is he going to be playing as a midfielder again, or will he start up front? I want to see more from the likes of Martinelli. Thomas Partey in midfield, how will he fare against the likes of Andrich in this one? Defensively, now that we have Calafiori, we have Ben White there, we have Timber, we have Saliba, we have Gabriel, Zinchenko's there, Kiwi is still there. Who will start in defense for us in this game? Because when you get to the Emirates Cup, Leverkusen and Lyon, the team that you're going to see playing these 2 games is probably the team closest to the team that you're going to see against Wolves. Maybe 10 players. If now 10 players starting this game and starting the Lyon game, it means they're probably going to start the Premier League game against Wolves in a couple of weeks. So it's going to be very, very interesting. A very good test. Leverkusen have only played 2 preseason games so far. They beat one of the lower division teams in Germany 2-1, and then they just drew with Lens 2-2. For us, we've played a lot. We've played against Bournemouth, against United, against Liverpool, against Leyton Orient in the behind closed doors game. We've played 4 games already. They've only played 2, so you could say we are slightly ahead of them in terms of fitness, but still it's going to be a very interesting game. So which lineup would I go for? Which team do I want to see in this one? Let's get started. So as I said, a lot of players are back. So in goal, I would go with David Raya. Maybe in the second half, maybe switch things around. I don't know. Maybe give Setford or Hines some more game time. But I think now we're going to start seeing the fast-chase goalkeepers. I think it's either going to be Raya or Ramsdale, probably Raya for both games actually. But I would go with Raya. And then defensively, that's where we could see a lot of things. We could have a lot of different formations. Do you want to see Timber at right back? Do you want to see Calafiori coming off the bench? Do you want him to start? Do you want him to start at left back, or do you want him to start instead of Gabriel? Do you want to see the combination between Calafiori and Saliba? This is the only time Atta has the time to experiment this defensive lineup. So these 2 games coming up, he can try Calafiori with Saliba, he can try Gabriel and Calafiori on the left side, he can try Gabriel and Timber on the left side, he could play Ben White as a centre back. This is the only time that you have to experiment. But for me, I am going to go with what I'm expecting us to have at the beginning of the season. That is what I'd go for. Okay, apart from Saliba. Saliba is not yet fully fit, so I'm not going to have him in the lineup. I'm going to have him against Lyon. So I'd go with Calafiori, Gabriel, Timber, and Ben White as the 4 defenders. Saliba obviously will start the season, so I would start him against Lyon. So I want to see Timber next to Ben White and Gabriel and Calafiori to make his debut from the start. That is the difference I want to see. And then in the second half, we could maybe bring on, obviously make all the subs, bring on Zinchenko, bring on Kivior. For Saliba, I don't think he has to play. He's just recently come back like 3 days ago. Unless he's okay to play even a few minutes, that is absolutely fine. Remember, Gabriel, Havertz, and Martinelli came back, and they came on like the very first game after like a day after that arrived. So absolutely no problem. What about the midfield? Midfield as well, you have a couple of options. Partey, Jorginho, Rice is now back. Some people like Zinchenko can play in midfield. Odegaard is there. Vieira is there. Smith Rowe's no longer there now. So in terms of that, we have few options. By the time we play against Lyon over the weekend, we could have Merino, but you don't have him for this one. But this is the midfield I would go for. I'd go with Thomas Partey, Odegaard, and Nwaneri. Yes, I would give Nwaneri an opportunity again in this game. 2 reasons. I want him to be the youngster that we have, coming to the first team next season. Doesn't have to start every game. No, he doesn't even have to play every single game. But, get opportunities here and there when we are 3-0 up already, 20 minutes to go, you bring him on, Carabao Cup game, start him a couple of times, because someone like a Bob at Man City, Bob is really good, but I can't see a reason why Nwaneri, can't get into that level as well. They're all youngsters. Yes, Nwaneri is very, very young, but, give him that experience around the first team. I don't see a problem with that. And on top of that, who else do you really want to see in that position? We don't have too many players, because as I said, with Saliba, Rice has just come back. I'll bring Rice off the bench, have him ready for the Lyon game. Fabio Vieira maybe, but then again, I have Fabio Vieira in a different position because Xhaka as well just came back. I don't know how Arteta is going to approach this game. I don't know if those players are going to start, the Xhakas and Salibas who have just come back. But for me, I am going to go with Nwaneri next to Odegaard, give him even 45 minutes, and then let's see how it goes. Up front, I would go with Vieira on the right side, Havertz up front, and Martinelli on the left. Now, for Vieira's case, I want to see a lot of him this season as well. I hope this is the season that he breaks through for us, because I think this is like last chance alone. Like, I think if Vieira doesn't perform this season, that is it for him as an Arsenal player. So he needs to have a big season as a backup for Odegaard, as a backup for Xhaka. At the moment, we still don't have a backup for Odegaard. We don't really have a backup for Xhaka. Nelson is there, but we're expecting him to leave, so Arteta might end up going with Vieira with Nelson on the right side. Trossard is not there. Trossard could play on the right side, yes, but I'll have him on the bench to come on for Martinelli, the likes of Gabriel Jesus. So this is the bench. Second half, if you're going to make all 11 changes or 10 changes, you can bring on Xhaka for a few minutes for Vieira, Jesus for Havertz. You can bring in Trossard for Martinelli. I'd like to see another of the youngsters, maybe Sago Jr. coming on as well, maybe in place of Vieira if Xhaka is not ready. We could have Jorginho, maybe Rice for Partey and Nwaneri. Lewis Kelly can come on for Calafiori. We could make a few changes. Zinchenko can come on. I don't know if there's any need of really bringing on Katie and Nelson, because they're so close to moving away. I don't really see the need, but that should be my lineup for this particular game. I think that is strong enough. So Ryan, goal, Calafiori, Gabriel, Timber, and Ben White at the back. Partey, Nwaneri, and Odegaard in midfield, Vieira, Havertz, and Martinelli up front. So let me know, which changes would you make? Which changes would you like to see? Would you start a different team? Would you like to see Calafiori starting or coming off the bench? Would you like to see Calafiori starting as a centre back instead, and maybe Timber at left back? Let me know what your back four would look like for this one. Do you think there's any need of rushing Saliba, Rice, Xhaka, and those 3 particular players to this game very quickly, or do you think we just keep them safe for the Lyon game over the weekend, let them train for the next 4 days? And then up front as well, would you like to see Jesus instead of Havertz? Would you like to see Jesus on the wing instead of Vieira, Trossard starting instead of Martinelli? At the end of the day, most of them are going to get this particular game, but the ones who are starting are mostly going to get like 60 minutes, and then the subs getting 30 minutes. So who do you want to see more? So the one who's starting is probably the one you're going to see more for around 60 minutes. So let me know. Prediction, is there any of prediction? I'm just going to go for Arsenal 2, and I think Leverkusen is a strong team. Let's hope you have a big return to the Emirates. 2 seasons ago, this cup, the Emirates Cup, we beat Sevilla 6-0, and Jesus shined on that day. He scored a hat-trick in his first Emirates appearance. It was a really, really fun game. Last year, not quite the same, Monaco, but we went to penalties and won that game. Let's hope this game gives us a lot of, exciting things to look forward to. So this is not all about the results, or Arsenal win 5-0. That doesn't really matter. It would be great if you won that and beat one of the best teams in Europe right now 5-0. But in terms of obviously just to see the combination between Calafiori and Martinelli. That's one thing I really want to see. A lot of people have been saying Martinelli wasn't great enough last season, mainly one reason, or the reasons was because he didn't really have anyone behind him in terms of Xhaka going and Zinchenko not being available and Tima not being available. I want to see that combination between Calafiori and Martinelli. I want to see Nwaneri again in this particular team. How does he do with all the first team players around him? Timber next to Gabriel. I want to see all of that. But that's the match preview. The game will be played on Wednesday. Exciting as always. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.